And welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame as the Bills get ready to take on the Kansas City Chiefs at home in the divisional round of the 2023 playoffs. We have with us this week Shawn returning back from a long hiatus. Glad to have you back, Shawn. Dan, my right hand man here, and Jared, our producer, will be supervising as always, but now on screen. We'll start off with the headline from the going into this week. Patrick Mahomes is playing an away playoff game. Some people thought it was impossible, but he's coming with the whole Kansas City crew right here to Buffalo this Sunday. Let's see, Dan, we'll start with you this week. Thoughts on Mahomes playing an away playoff game in Buffalo, nonetheless?
It's going to be, quite interesting. I definitely think that this is exactly what the Bills needed. A lot of people think that after the 2021 divisional game, that things possibly could have been different if the Bills had won an extra game during the regular season and gotten that game to be in Buffalo. So now we're getting that chance. Obviously, Mahomes has played once before in Buffalo, but in front of no fans. So it's going to be exciting to see how he performs. It had to happen eventually. I think it's his sixth, seventh year maybe, and he hasn't played one. That's pretty impressive. But interesting to see how he plays out.
Um, Shawn, any thoughts on Mahomes playing an away game?
I think it's big. It's almost just like Brady that, he almost never had to play away games. So I think Bills Mafia really showed up last game. It was pretty loud the whole game. And I know they've had some trouble getting the signals in from Andy Reid to Mahomes, so that could be pretty big here, just because I know they've struggled with that. So yeah, I definitely think there's advantage there having him to go on the road.
Shawn, we'll stick with you this week. Travis Kelce has made comments considering retirement in this offseason. Willie Gay Jr., the linebacker for Kansas City, has announced that he's going to be seeking negotiations with other teams in his free agent year. Are we watching one of the last grasps of the Kansas City window as Mahomes has been so dominant, but the team is kind of starting to go its separate ways?
I sure hope so. They've got a young receiving core that's just not panned out very well, unlike the Green Bay Packers. Hopefully, um, you know, that is kind of the downfall. Ever since Kill left, you haven't seen a ton of production there, and all they've really had is Travis Kelce all year, really. Rashee Rice has come on recently, but I think if we get our number one cornerback, which looks like we're going to, that'll make a big difference. And yeah, hopefully they're just like worn out, and Travis Kelce wants to join his brother, in the Hall of Fame in the same year, so he just calls it quits, and we can send them packing and shut down Chiefs Kingdom and have Bill's Mafia. I'm hoping Houston looks good. So
I don't know. I just don't like the Kansas City colors. I am very much looking forward to not seeing them all the time on national games. Uh, Dan, any thoughts on Kansas City's window possibly closing?
I don't really, right now, it's hard to really think that they are when, it seems like after what a lot of people have considered an off year for the Chiefs, to still be at the divisional round playing and, playing the Bills again. It seems like that's kind of how it seems like the Patriots dynasty a lot. It was where even when they didn't seem like they had the greatest regular season, they were always right there playing. Mahomes doesn't seem like he's really slowing down right now, and Andy Reid is a great coach. So right now, it'd be hard to say that I think that they're going to fall off after this year, as of right now at least.
I agree with Shawn. They're going to have to retool the tools that they thought that they were bringing up has not replaced what has left. And it doesn't seem like they're getting like high draft picks as a result of their success. So I don't know. something's got to give that organization, and I would love to see them not be good anymore. On the other side of the ball, the Bills suffered injuries throughout the Pittsburgh game, so much so that they allowed the Pittsburgh Steelers to get back into it towards the end. We have injured. We have Tyrel Dodson, Rasul Douglas, Christian Benford, Braylon Spector, Terrel Bernard, Kaiir Elam, AJ Klein, and Dorian Williams all came in and played well enough. Dan, any of those performances stand out to you coming in for the next man up to replace the injured players?
No, the injuries definitely, that was not what you wanted to see going into the second round of the playoffs, especially when you're going against Patrick Mahomes, of course. But, I think that is one good thing that Bean has done is that he's definitely, it seems like the next man up really is true in Buffalo, where, seems like where the backups step in. And I believe Braylon Spector did get hurt, but, he was a guy that we were kind of unsure of in training camp. And, he seems like he's been making some big plays the last few games. So I definitely think that the Bills have done a good job with their depth.
Shawn, considering the injuries, how do you see Mahomes and Andy Reid trying to take advantage of the injuries we have?
Yeah, I definitely think Sean McDermott's done an amazing job at really figuring out how to get the most out of his players, really forcing teams into what they don't want to do, or even if they play well in the first half, adjusting. He's never the best at that, and I think ever since that Tyler Dunne article, he's just adjusted and gotten his players the most out of them, and it's just been really impressive. AJ Klein, played amazing. He's been on the team before, and Dorian Williams did too. But I'm just worried about them covering, those are not coverage linebackers. So I'm worried about them covering Travis Kelce. And Rashee Rice, like obviously he'd be covered by Rasul Douglas, but and I think Kaiir also, impressed. I mean, I just worry about his pass interference woes with Shawn Hochuli being the ref, in Philadelphia last game. He kind of probably called the worst game I've ever seen in my entire life for a as a Bills fan, which is saying something. And so I'm a little worried about Kaiir Elam, and he, he was doing pass interference stuff again, and before that pick, but that worries me a lot against Travis Kelce and Kadarius Toney, and I know that they've been dropping passes and everything, but as a Bills fan, you just expect the worst. So I can't say, I have super confidence that, they're going to be able to cover them and not make it. It's going to be a close game, but it's if we had all those players, I would feel a lot better, like I said, because Shawn's gotten the most out of them.
You hear all this talk from the NFL about how the referees for the playoff games, like there's a scores and evaluations, and you get the best reffing crews like for these games. Shawn Hochuli must be the evidence that there's all very subjective measurements of what these are, because having seen games he's officiated, you can't help but think that this has to be one of the worst referees in the league, and his dad must be a ref because otherwise he never would have gotten this far. So kudos to the NFL for protecting nepotism. I'm glad it's still strong. On the offense side of the ball, Shawn, when the going gets tough, it seems Josh has been taking the matters into his own hands. Will he be able to continue doing that against Kansas City in this game in important moments?
Yeah, let me just say one other thing. I did see a stat about the reffing, and they were saying that Kansas City has the most pass interference calls over the last year, and then they were second in the league. And they were saying there was a good discrepancy between them at home versus them on the road as far as how many calls they got. So hopefully that goes in the Bills' favor. As far as Josh Allen goes, like last week I said, guys, the reason we're going to win that game is because of Josh Allen. 100% right. It's going to be the same thing here. I mean, this team plays different at home, and we know that. That's always been true. But he just has been playing out of his mind lately. I mean, 4 touchdowns, joins Mahomes for having, and I think I can't remember the other guy, but it was a stat I saw today. Only 3 quarterbacks, 4 touchdowns, no picks in a playoff game. Just incredible. I think it was like he'd done it like 4 times. I think the last like 4 wild card games or something like that. Maybe I botched that stat, but just crazy. He's been playing crazy. It's been amazing. And he needs to because his naysayers, they will just go to the ends of the earth. They will make every excuse for everyone else, and they will just go against him no matter what he does, which some of it is, it's earned, but a lot of it isn't. And it's really frustrating as a fan. I watch these national guys and they just trash him to no end. And it's just like, why are you doing this? Why don't you? I mean, he didn't even make the Pro Bowl. He led the league in touchdowns, solo touchdowns. I mean, yeah, I get all the picks, but his picks like didn't lead to many points. I mean, I saw that stat, like the amount of points off the turnovers, it was like one of the lowest in the league. His sack percentage is like the lowest in the league. I mean, I know it's just because he's so elusive and big, but still, man, he gets it all done. He's just been crazy, and I think he gets us to the AFC Championship.
Dan, any other thoughts on the offense? What they have to do to outscore Mahomes?
Just keep doing what they were. I definitely agree with Shawn. Just keep doing what they did against Steelers. Josh. Let him do what he's got to do. That run. Seeing that in person. That touchdown run. That was. I think that might be the best Bills run I've seen by a quarter, or the best run I've seen by a Bills quarterback in my life. I know there's probably some Tyrod Taylor runs that are up there, but I don't know. That was, to do that in the playoffs, I think that was really crazy to see. Just keep doing that. Run where he needs to. Hopefully, I'm not sure if Dave, with that being
Led to some success on like downfield passes by Mahomes. I don't see that being Shawn McDermott's strategy per se. But Dan, what do you see? Do you see a lot of blitzing on Mahomes, or are we going to kind of more what we've done in the past, rush for and allow him to pick us apart?
I think the way that the Bills defense, I mean, the last couple of years, I think, this year when we played him, I think the D line has really got to him. And I think that was a big part of why we won the first game this year. So, we'll see. I think, if your guys can get after him early, then I would say keep doing that. But, obviously, like Shawn mentioned, the Bills definitely are, their linebackers are not guys that can really cover some of the guys on Kansas City. So, I try to get to him for, with your D lineman and then maybe go from there.
Shawn, any thoughts on the defense?
I mean, I think that the only part of our defense isn't injured is our D line. And like you said, the success that they've had against, blitzing him this year, most teams, I think you got to do it. Just you can't put it in your cornerbacks and your linebackers, hands because, it's just not your strong suit with all those injuries. So get them in the right places to make plays, and just, if you can just bother the heck out of them, hopefully, you get some picks or some sacks out of that or some fumbles. Which I definitely think, I mean, Ed Oliver played out of his mind last game. And, I saw a stat, it's like the best 6 pressures on like 10 pass down, which is like best all time or something like that. I'm like, that's craziness, man. It's awesome we paid him. But, we just got to get in his face and think about it. We didn't really have that the first time we played them, especially with DaQuan Jones, I think. So, we just got to get up the field at him, and hopefully Vaughn looked okay more. He's getting there, Hopefully by the Super Bowl he'll be, a little bit more useful. But yeah, I mean, yeah, get in their face and make them make mistakes.
Statistically, Von Miller's due, right? So peaking at the right time, Von. And Ed Oliver, we should only sign 1-year contracts because free agent years is a motivating factor for that dude. This year is proof of that. Shawn, we'll go to you right away for the picks. What's your pick for the game?
Oh man. Let's Hochuli called a high scoring game last time. I don't even think about this. High scoring teams, I think we can find a way around their defense. Oh man. Our offense isn't injured at all. Except Gabe, but I don't know. 33-30 Bills.
Yeah, buddy. All right, Dan.
All right. I'm gonna I'm gonna I gotta go with the Bills. It's gonna be a really high scoring game. I'll go 41-35 Bills.
Dude, you have to go with the Bills. Last time I didn't, I got literally yelled at. So yeah, this is a homer broadcast. Let's never forget that. But I have to pick the Bills too, man. We're gonna win, and then we're gonna face Houston in Buffalo for the championship next week. I can't wait. Buffalo Bills pregame. We'll be back to talk about it. Jared, we were gonna go to you for the scores, but we ran out of time. Thank you all so much for watching Buffalo Bills pregame. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week for the AFC Championship game at home versus the Houston Texans. Hopefully. Woo! Elijah's got a prediction.
Bills 100%. 1,000,000 to 1.
How about 2?